Here we are in section 4.2 with the answers to 23 through 26. We're going to bring on this from the previous discussion with problems and make sure you remember that the percentage and volume multiply, and that actually gives you this little amount of powder or whatever you're doing with the concentration. Same thing here, and it has to equal, so this is actually the powder equation and this is the volume equation, and hey, it works, so let's do it. So how much of a 10% solution and a 35% solution? So we don't know the volume 1 and volume 2 here. So we're going to draw little X's. We're going to do this in purple here. So we're going to have this guy plus this guy. Ooh, there we go. And draw these little things in here and to equal this other one here. Good. Okay, there we go. So 23. This is a 10% solution and this is a 35% solution. And notice it says how much of these two things. We have two variables, X and Y, right there. And we know that we want 10 liters of a 28% solution. So the final has to be 28%, 10 liters. Yeah, so we use this formula. We know that X plus Y equals 10. So that one's going to be the second equation right here. And this one, how much? Oh yeah, this top equation right here. So 10% of X, 0.1X plus 0.35Y has to equal 0.28 of 10. So we now have two equations and we have two variables. That means we know how to solve this. Substitution or elimination? Substitution looks good. I don't know. There we go. 10 minus x will come right up into there. And we get 0.1x plus 0.35 times 10 minus x equals 2.8. Excellent. Can we solve this? Of course we can. We know how to do this. We're down to one variable. This stuff is happy land. Plus 3.5 minus 0.35x equals 2.8. Put these two together and we get a negative 0.25x, and subtract 3.5 from both sides and we get a negative 0.7. If we divide by negative 0.25, divide by a negative 0.25, stick that in our calculators and we get x to equal, plug that in, I think we'll be up at about 2.8, but let's double check. 0.7 divided by 0.25, the negatives cancel and we're up at 2.8 gallons. So this guy is 2.8 gallons of 10%. Well, if we got to add up to 10, you can stick that right in there. X is 2.8, subtract 2.8 off of that, and we get 7.2. So 7.2 gallons of the 35%, and that'll make exactly 10 liters of 28%. Excellent. Alrighty, number 24. This is almost exactly the same thing. It says $8,000 is split between two accounts with annual interest yields of 6% and 8%. So it's like we have $8,000 over here in total volume, so we have an X and a Y, just like we had previously. It says this is a 6% account and this is an 8% account. It doesn't ask us what the final account is, but it does tell us that the interest, so whatever this interest rate is that this produces, it gives us this number right away, 586. So we know that the X plus Y has to equal 8,000. That's two different accounts adding up to $8,000. Good. And then 6% of the first account, notice that's how much interest came out of the first account, and 8% out of the second account equals, well, if we knew this percent, we just take 8,000 times that percent, but instead, notice they gave us the actual amount of interest. So it's almost like they multiplied those together already, when in reality, we don't even need to know what that is. So this right here, you notice this timesing, they gave us this number. And so that's what makes these just a little bit different. I'm going to draw a little picture so you can see where these guys come from. It said $8,000 was split between two accounts. We're going to call this much X and Y. And this guy was in 6% and this guy was in an 8%. So this tells us our first equation, X plus Y equals 8,000. When we take how much interest came from here and here, it says those two interests totaled up to 586. And that's what gives us a second. So I don't know if that picture helps solidify how to write the equation in the absence of a final percentage, but it might help. All right, how do we solve this? Substitution looks good for me. Subtract x over there and we get y equals 8,000 minus x. So we're going to take that and put it right down there in the y. 0.06x plus 0.08 times 8,000 minus x equals 586. Cool. So let's distribute that and we get 0.06x plus 640 minus 0.08x equals 586. Subtract those and we get negative 0.02x equals, subtract 640 over there, and we get 54. Can we, negative 54, sorry about that. So subtract 640 there, and we get 54. Divide by negative 0.02, divide by a negative 0.02, and let's see what we get there. 54 divided by 0.02, the negatives will cancel, and we're left with x is 2,700. Now remember that the 2,700 happened at the 6%, so we're 2,700 of this 6%. And then, let me see, we had a total of 8,000. 8,000 minus 2,700, that's 5,300. $5,300 at the 8%. There we go. Nice. Okay, let's look at number 25. We'll do that right here in the middle. Number 25, it says a total of 6,000 is split between two accounts. That means we get x plus y. Those two amounts in the accounts are for $6,000. And 5% of x, 0.05 of x, plus 8% of the other account, plus 0.08y, equals a total interest of 366, following the exact same pattern as what we had here. If you'd like to think about it in this diamond shape, 6,000 was separated between your x and your y, and it gave us a total of 366 for the total interest when you calculate the 5% of the one and the 8% of the other. All right, substitution. Y is 6,000 minus x. So we're going to take that guy and stick it right there in the y. We have 0.05x plus 0.08 times 6,000 minus x equals 366. So 0.05x plus 0.08 times 6,000 is 4,800 minus 0.08x equals 366. Good. Not 4,800. Stop that. It's 480. There we go. So add these two together, you get negative 0.03x, and subtract 480 over here, and you get negative 114. Divide by negative 0.03, divide by negative 0.03, and we have x, which is at the 5% account, equals, let's plug our calculator in, 114 divided by 0.03. Again, the negatives cancel, and we get 3,800. So 3,800 at the 5%, put a dollar sign on there, and we had a total of $6,800. So this one we get 2,200. When you subtract it, 6,000 minus 3,800 will give you y is 2,200. And so that's how much is at the 8%. All right. Let's clear this stuff off a little bit and get some room, and then we'll do number 26. Almonds sell for $4.50 a pound. Peanuts sell for $2.25. How much of each mixture, so we're going to have an X and a Y, should be used to create a 15-pound mixture? So again, we have X plus Y equals 15. All right, that tells us about that. But we also know that, now this is very interesting, we're going to have this weighted mixture, but they're not percentages, they're prices. So almonds, 4.5 times the number of almonds plus 2.25 times the amount of peanuts has to be $3 a pound times 15. And what's interesting is we actually created a cost or a revenue price function here. So if you add them up, it better cost the exact same amount. These 2 pounds add up to 15, but $4.50 for every pound of X and $2.25 for every pound of Y, which is peanuts, has to end up being $45. The mixture has to cost 45 bucks. So look at that. That gave us the two equations just like we had before. Substitution. Yeah, solve for Y, and Y is 15 minus X. Now many of you will be able to do that without writing out two equations. Realize you're going to have 4.5 times X plus 225 times 15 minus X. And you can almost see that, hey, if you've got X, then the other guy has to be everything but that, equals 45. All right, so let's distribute 4.5x plus 2.25 times 15. I don't have that off the top of my head. 2.25 times 15, 33.75 minus 2.25x equals 45. So combine the x's together. 4.5 minus 2.25 happens to be 2.25x. So we actually took that minus that and got 2.25x equals 45 minus 33.75 is 11.25. Divide by the 2.25, divide by 2.25, we get x equals, pull out the calculator, 11.25 divided by 2.25, and we get 5. Wow, so that means X was, what was X? X was what cost $4.50, so that was almonds. X were the almonds, so we get 5 pounds of almonds, okay, and Y then is 15 minus 5, which is 10. 10 pounds of peanuts. And if you look at this, it's kind of cool. Math really is kind of magical in that sense. Notice that the final price is not right in between 225 and 450. It's actually a lot closer to the 225. $3 is only 75 cents off of there, and it's $1.50 off of there. So you had to have more peanuts to allow the price to come all the way down to $3 a pound. So there we have it. Good deal.